Well, hello everyone, Texie88 here and welcome to another review. And now we're taking a look at a game called Necronom, which was brought out by Linel for the Commodore Amiga in, I believe it was 1992. And we got this pretty impressive intro sequence in this game. And you get these schematics in the background, which is already starting to look very reminiscent of R-Type, whose Spectrum version I reviewed not so long ago, and that particular port was absolutely excellent. And got this nice intro sequence in which you can see the name Necronom scrolling to the left and right. And we've got this absolutely awesome music in the background as well. God, this is already starting to show some absolute promise, isn't it? I mean, your game's surely got to be good with an intro sequence like this. But enough of that, let's find out what the actual game's like. So what Necronom is basically a horizontal shoot 'em up. And you can choose to have sound effects on or off, or music on or off. Quite why you want them both off is anyone's guess, but the option's there for some strange reason. I mean, it's an Amiga. Would you really want no music nor sound effects? And now we get to gear up our ship before we go. Welcome, Commander. Your mission awaits. Prepare your weapons. Well, that's all very well and good, but let me ask you a question. Wouldn't you at least like to know precisely what your weapons actually are, so you stand the chance of knowing what exactly you're powering up? So you select whichever one of these you like, and you press fire to use some of the credits that is shown in the bottom left corner where it says left. And I can't seem to select that very bottom row for some reason. I don't know whether I'm doing something wrong or whether that's simply not available yet. I mean, these icons mean absolutely nothing to me. So I dread to think what a person actually watching this review will be thinking when they see those very obscure icons. So we've assigned all of what we had to weapons of various sorts. Now to see what the game itself is like. Entering next zone tech. So nice smooth scrolling. Graphics are okay, but why did the enemies have to take so many hits? I mean, this is only the first level. I mean, how are you meant to have weapons that are anywhere near powerful enough to help to defeat all of this? Oh, bloody hell. I mean, I thought this was going to be another game that made use of joysticks and joypads with two independent fire buttons, but for some reason, if you press the second button, your ship rises up like that. What's that all about? Oh, for God's sake. Oh, at least it hasn't put me right back to the start. But the weapons you get to start with are so weedy. How are you meant to take out enough enemies to really make any great progress? Oh, for God's sake, ship's too slow. And that ship looks very, very like the ship that you use in R-Type. Oh God, your ship's not fast enough at the start. You don't have a hope of being. And the enemies just take too many hits to kill in the opening stages. So I made it to the high score table, and once again I beg to ask the question. Given that I'm on a computer with a keyboard, why can I not just type this? Why do I have to do all this keying it in one character by one character with the joystick or joypad? I mean, I could have knocked that name out in a couple of seconds if I was just able to type, but of course I can't. Oh, I've got to do this stupid nonsense again. What are these? I mean, seriously. So it's showing a map of where you can go. I'm presuming at the end of the stage you can actually choose your route, but that's if you can even get that far or even be bothered to get that far. I mean, it seems like he's put some enemies at the start that are simply too powerful to take out with minimal weaponry. And if you don't breathe, oh God, I did a different outlay this time, and now my ship is incredibly slow. I'm starting to think that uppermost one is in that weapon assignment screen is speed, because I barely even touched that, and my ship is going incredibly slowly. I mean, I thought they might have been smart bombs, but they just seem to make the screen flash, and they don't. Otherwise, they don't do anything. Oh God, those take way too many hits for what they're given how early in the game they appear. Oh goodness me! I barely scratched the paintwork there. See, look. Those ships take way too many hits to destroy. And these are really quite hard to oh bloody hell. Oh, piss! Oh, give me a break. This is trying so hard to be R-Type that it's painful. See, those take too many hits. Oh, I didn't even get on the high score table that time. I mean, why couldn't they have text that actually tells you what each of these are? I mean, what's that? What are all these? I mean, I know that top one's speed. the others I can't really figure out at all. Oh, it seems like that second one down is how many bullets in a row you're firing. I seem to be. So it looks like to start with, the uppermost two are the ones you should prioritise. But why even bother having the other ones available if you're not? Oh, sod you! Oh, goodness me. But even though I've powered up my main gun, it still seems to be taking rather too many hits to destroy everything. I mean, this is the first level. Shouldn't they be a little bit weaker to give the player a chance and ease them in, and in preparation for the heavy duty stuff later? When the likelihood is they'll have had amassed enough to be able to get better weapons. This game doesn't do that. I'm not even going to attempt to destroy those things. Oh, sodding hell. God, those are so hard to predict. What are those? They don't seem to do anything apart from make the screen flash. What's the point? I mean, there were those bomb things that I had during the first run through of this review, which would have been very handy here, but if I'd done that I wouldn't be able to power up my guns. Oh god, there's virtually nowhere to go. One more go. So if I give myself one of those... No, it can't be the bombs. See, which one are those bombs that sort of arc downwards, which I had doing the first... I don't know. I shouldn't have to experiment to find out what everything is. Is that it? I don't know. And it's quite something when even when weapon selection screen is a bit unresponsive. And the controls on that weapon select screen are actually quite stiff. (1992), and this was, and they came up with this. Whatever I picked obviously wasn't those bombs, which isn't ideal because I could have done with just one of those. See, I mean, I can barely figure out some of the things in that blooming weapon select screen. You have to actually experiment to find out what's what, and even when you do know, even when you have figured out what something does, there's still the question of whether you actually know how to use it. Oh. I just pressed space. Now, why couldn't the second controller have done something about that? Oh, for God's sake. But even with that, the firepower is so feeble. And why did I have to press space to do that anyway? Why would I not want that? These weapons are too weedy to get anywhere. And notice how you can barely even see your bullets that you're firing. Oh, bloody hell. Oh, I barely having anywhere to go move in that area. Oh, bloody hell. So it seems like if you press space, you... Oh, that's useless. So you can see... It's got all those different firing modes for, well, whatever that is, but it really doesn't work very well, and the weapons are still very weak. No, I'm not impressed with that at all. That introductory sequence showed so much promise, and then you get an incredibly run-of-the-mill shoot 'em up with some of the most pathetically weak weapon selections that you can pick, and even if you figure them out, the controls are not ideal. Even with a second a controller with 2 independent fire buttons, you still have to reach over to press space to actually cycle through them, and that's if you can figure out the blooming weapon select screen at all without having to do much experimentation at the very least. I mean, why does the second button make you go up rather than actually cycle through those orbs? And why do you have to cycle through them at all? Why would you not want them if you've got them? I mean, it doesn't make sense. And what's with that weapon where it just makes the screen flash but otherwise doesn't seem to do anything? So, down to my usual graphics. They're okay, but they're not exactly what I'd call amazing. And you get those weapons. Sorry, this is a demo mode that I just left to play, but all these weapons you're supposed to decipher from that weapon select screen somehow. And it's easy, you can get it to fire behind you and upwards, but if you do all that, you can't fire ahead of you from what I could make out, which is pretty bad. I mean, everything. I mean, the animation's fine, but everything about this is just very run-of-the-mill visually. And this is just trying to build on the success of R-Type, and it fails miserably. The sounds are not that great. They're not awful, but they're not great either. I mean, I've heard much better sound effects on the Amiga, even for games before 1992, when this game first came out. Music's pretty good, especially in the intro. Then gameplay. Oh dear. Well, ranging from having to figure out that stupidly confusing weapon select screen at the start of the game, trying to figure out what does what intuitively, which is nigh on impossible by the looks of things. To basically having enemies that are a bit unpredictable, fire too often, and are too powerful for an opening level. You just feel like you don't stand a chance. It's very imbalanced. So no, Necronom, this is a pile of crap. I'm sorry, but that intro sequence is actually more fun than the actual game. So I'm going to give Necronom for the Amiga 3 out of 10. it's far too difficult, and there's not nearly anything decent about it to make it worthy of your attention when you've got far better things like R-Type, Amiga, and even Team 17's Project X. So, hope you enjoyed that review. Catch you on another video soon. Texie88 out.